Hi there, and welcome to our top score writing lesson today. My name is Mrs. Zabo, and I'm going to be your teacher for this lesson. We are on the first lesson of section 2, which is all about informative writing. So, second graders, I'm so glad you're here with me today so that we can continue to practice and grow to become amazing writers. So, let's get right to our lesson today. So today we will be planning for informative prompts in response to text that we read. So in section 1, you learned how to write according to an expository prompt. So you still were able to learn how to plan and write a 5-paragraph essay, but all of your ideas came from your own head. Now, in informative writing, you are going to be informing or teaching your reader, just like expository, but instead of using your own thoughts and ideas from your own head, now you're going to be using text. So you're going to be receiving 2 to 4 passages in which you're going to have to read them and then take information from the text to teach your reader about the topic within the prompt. So we are going to be talking about planning for these informative essays. So informative writing is teaching your reader. So you will be given 2 to 4 passages to read about a similar topic or theme. After reading the text, you will be given a prompt that directs you to write about something you read. You will choose 3 topics from the text to inform your reader about. So these topics are what's going to fill your T1, your T2, and your T3, those big middle paragraphs. So let's kind of practice using and looking at these prompts. So it says, let's say you just read 3 passages on sea creatures. Then you were given this prompt. What would you do? So the prompt says, think about what you read about sea creatures. Use the information from the text to explain what you learned about sea creatures. So the first thing that you need to do is distinguish what type of prompt it is. So look at that. Tell me what the key word is in the prompt. Did you say explain? You are correct. That tells you that it's going to be an informative prompt in which you teach your reader or inform or explain to your reader about the sea creatures that you learned about within the text passages. Very good job. Let's try another one. So it says, let's say you just read 2 passages to read about Florida. Then you were given this prompt. What would you do? Well, we need to distinguish what the prompt is. Can somebody tell me the key word? Absolutely. It's inform. That tells you it's an informative prompt. Therefore, you're writing an informative essay to teach your reader about what? You're just going to teach your reader about Florida. It's a general prompt, all about Florida. Whatever you can find in the passages about Florida, you can teach your reader about. Excellent. So when we are using our prompts for informative essays, we have to create an ITC plan. This is very similar to the IRC plan that you used in expository writing in section 1. So the I still stands for introduction. The T now stands for topics. So you're going to pick 3 different topics about the main topic that you're focusing on that are in the passages. So we're going to be doing that today. And then you have your C, which is your conclusion paragraph. So ITC instead of IRC, which we learned for expository. So it's very similar. It looks exactly pretty much the same as how we wrote our IRC plan in section 1. It starts with your I, then your T1, T2, T3, and then your C. And then you have your AB, AB, AB for T1, T2, and T3. Remember, your A's and B's are your subtopics or your examples or details that you're going to focus on for those big middle paragraphs. So let's kind of practice this together. What I want you to do is I want you to take out the passages ice skating and what is soccer. When you have finished reading, I will show you how to plan for a prompt based on these texts. So I want you to pause this video right now and I want you to read these texts to be familiar with them. When you're done reading, come back to me and I'll show you how you are able to stop and jot and box off your information in order to create a plan for your essay. So go ahead, pause this and come back to me. All right, you should have finished reading the passages. I want to show you how we box and stop and jot in order to get our 3 topics within our plan and then also our subtopics. So I have the prompt here with my notebook in front of me. And as you can see, the prompt says, after reading the articles, think about what you learn about sports. Now write to inform your reader about sports. So the first thing I need to do is I need to check and distinguish my prompt. So my key word is inform. So I'm going to circle that so I know that I am informing or teaching my reader about the topic. Now, what's my topic? Does anyone know? Yes, exactly. It's sports. Sports is my topic. I have to teach my reader about sports. It's a pretty general topic, so I can pick anything within the passages about sports that I can teach my reader about. So let's look at the first passage that you read. And the first passage that you read was called ice skating. And so I need to find 3 major topics about sports that I want to teach my reader about. So in these paragraphs, the second and the third, I noticed that it was talking about skating sports. So I'm going to box that off because I have a good amount of information that I can teach my reader about within that box. So I'm going to focus on, for my T1, skate sports, because both of these paragraphs talk about skate sports. So I'm going to put T1 skate sports there. Now, I noticed that for T1 within that box, the details or the examples of skate sports that I'm going to focus on are going to be figure skating and speed skating. So this is going to be my A, and this is going to be my B. Do you see how we did that? We went into the box that we picked our content from, and we found the 2 details or examples that we're going to focus on for our T1. Now we need to go and find our T2. Well, as I was reading, I'm going down to paragraph 4 and 5, and I noticed that there were more examples of skate sports. It was talking a lot about different skating sports in which the sports had to do with ice skating. So I am going to box off 4 and 5. And I'm going to say that these are going to be my T2, and I'm going to focus on other skate sports. And my examples for my A and my B are going to be ringette, which is going to be my A, and then ice hockey, which is going to be my B. So now I have my T2 topic and then my A and my B, my examples or my details that I'm going to focus on within those paragraphs. Alrighty, now I'm going to continue on to the next. I'm going to continue on to the next passage, which was all about soccer. And this entire passage is all about soccer. So I feel like my topic should be soccer in general. So I'm going to get another color here. And I'm going to box all of this off. And the first 2 paragraphs, those talk about how to play soccer. So I'm going to say Playing soccer is going to be my A. How to play. And then for my B, this is all about how soccer helps people or how it helps kids. So I'm going to make help as B. So once I have my T1, my T2, and my T3 all boxed off, and I have my A's and B's, my details for each of my topics, then I can fill in my outline. So I need to create an ITC outline. So I, T1, T2, T3, and C. Remember, T stands for topics. And then we have our A, B for each one. Now I just have to go back into my passages and I need to find out what I boxed off and what I labeled as my A and B. So my T1 says skate sports, so I'm going to put in skate sports. My T2 says other skate sports, so I'm going to focus on other skate sports. And then my T3 is soccer. So I'm going to put my 3 topics down. Now remember, my I and my C are always the same. And what is our prompt asking us? In general, what sports are. So we are going to talk about sports. So I and C are sports. Now I need to go back to my T1 and I need to look at my A's and my B's. My A for T1 is figure skating and my B is speed skating. Perfect. My T2 is ringette and hockey. So for other skate sports, I'm going to talk about ringette and ice hockey. And then lastly, for soccer, I'm going to talk about how to play it and how it helps. So once you box everything off and you label all your information, then it's really easy for you to create your ITC plan. Do you see how we did that? So all it is that you have to figure out the 3 big topics that you want to focus on and box those off and then label your A's and B's, your examples and details for each of those topics. Once you've done that, it's very easy to create your ITC outline. So let me go back to my PowerPoint. Alrighty. And so now it's your turn. I want you to do the exact same thing that we just did within our practice together. So I need you to take out your passages on ocean animals. The first one is dolphins, the second one is sea turtles, and the third one is stingrays. What I want you to do is I want you to read these passages. I want you to be boxing off your 3 main topics and underlining and labeling your A's and your B's. Once you've done that as you read, then I want you to complete the ITC plan that's provided with the prompt. So the prompt says there are many different sea creatures within our oceans. Think about what you have learned about sea creatures. Now write to inform your reader about sea creatures. So you are going to read those passages, you are going to box, and you are going to label. And once you've done that, you're going to fill out your ITC outline, just like we did within our practice about sports. So go ahead and do that right now. Pause this video, and when you have completed it, come back to me. All right, you should have completed the plan for sea creatures. So you should have that in front of you, and it's now time to self-assess. So check that you wrote sea creatures next to I and C because that's your major topic that the prompt is asking you to write about. So make sure you have that. Check that you chose 3 big topics from the text for T1, T2, and T3. Now check that you chose 2 subtopics, details or examples for each main topic. So you should have your A's and your B's completed for your T1, T2, and T3. And then lastly, check that you boxed and labeled the information on your plan in the text passage set. So make sure all 4 of those things are completed. So here is an example. I and C, they say sea creatures. For T1, you talk about dolphins. You're going to focus on how they are smart and how they are playful. For your T2, you're going to talk about sea turtles and you're going to focus on how they lay eggs and how they're endangered. And then for your T3, you're going to focus on stingrays and you're going to focus on species of stingrays as well as what they eat. So this is an example ITC outline for this informative prompt. Now let's reflect. Look at your ITC outline and ask yourself, what did you do well on? Do you have everything there? Was it easy to go through your passages and find big topics? Or were your topics a little small and they don't have that much information? Remember, you want big topics. What did you forget? Is there anything that you forgot? And then what was hard for you? What are some things that you may need to practice on in the future? So let's revise. Start at the top of the list and work your way down until the timer goes off. So if you have a timer, go ahead and set it. I would say about 5 minutes. If you forgot something right now, I want you to add it. Did you make a mistake? Fix it right now. And then check for capitalization, spelling, and clarity. Once you have finished that, you have completed the lesson for today. Thank you for joining me. You have to train your mind like you train your body. That is so true. So I will be seeing you in lesson 2 for informative writing. See you then.